And welcome to Porthole. I'm Steve Milne, and in today's program we're taking you on a journey of discovery to the southeastern coast of America, to a port that's famed for its colourful buildings, stunning beaches and all year round sunshine. We're talking Miami, baby, for the next 30 minutes, but don't be fooled into thinking that it's just sun, sea, sand that has to offer. Miami's home to a whole range of incredible attractions, and here to tell us a bit more is Eve Gardiner. Eve, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
We were just discussing before, Miami is brilliant. I absolutely love it. I was lucky enough to go there myself last year. In regards to cruising, how popular is cruising from Miami?
It actually has claims to be the largest cruise port in the world. I don't know if that's quite true or not.
Yeah.
But from Miami you can go to many destinations, most popular being down to the Caribbean, Mexico, even on down to South America. And maybe in more recent years there's been short cruises down to the Bahamas, so you can just get to have a little taster.
Yeah.
Rather than being on a week or longer cruise, you can go for a 4-day cruise.
A short cruise. What cruise liners go from Miami? Is it a whole sort of variety?
So many.
Yeah.
And Miami is also home to, as headquarters to several of the big cruise companies. So yes, we're home base for quite a few companies.
So for those of you in the UK wanting to cruise from Miami, how easy is it to get there from the UK?
Very easy. We have a lot of airlift out of the UK, definitely from London. We've got BA, Virgin and American Airlines. You can actually go into Fort Lauderdale with Norwegian. Other options going via other gateways, but yes, we have good airlift.
How long is the flight time approximately? Do you know, from London to?
I would say about 8.5 hours.
Right, that's not bad, is it?
No.
It's nothing at all, really. That's a
couple
film.
Of good movies.
I was going to say,
yes.
a couple of films, a couple of gin and tonics, it'd be fine.
You're there.
In regards to visas, etc., what if you're from the UK, what do you need to get with visas? Okay,
if you are a UK passport holder, you do not need a visa.
Okay.
You have to apply for an ESTA, but that's to go to anywhere in the USA. Yes. You do that online, and once you have that approved, and there is a fee for it, but it is valid for 5 years, so multiple entries back into the USA, that's all you need to do.
I think I remember when I went to New York a few years ago, that covered me for a few years.
Yes.
So when I was in Miami, I was actually didn't have to worry about it. It was already done electronically.
That's right.
It's all done online, isn't it?
Yes, they've got your details logged.
They know everything about you, don't they?
Yes.
Everything. In regards to times to visit, is there a good time or a time around that you should go to Miami?
Well, Miami's great all year round. Its peak season traditionally is from Christmas through to the say to Easter, so the first 3 months of the year, and that's predominantly because it's cold up north and everyone wants to come down to the sunshine
and get some warm weather.
So it gets really, really busy. Yes, but having said that, it's popular year round, and I like the spring and autumn times personally.
It depends how much sun you want, I guess.
Exactly,
doesn't it? For those that maybe want the scorching heat, and then other people want the warmer weather. It just depends what you want.
And Europeans are always there in the summer months.
In regards to Christmas and New Year, is it popular over Christmas and New Year to be in Miami?
Yes, the city can be sold out. It really is very popular. It's a great place to come down and celebrate Christmas and the New Year. There is lots going on. It's decorated. Lots of parties, and
is there lots of lights?
Yes.
Americans love lights, don't they?
They do that very well too.
It
looks really pretty, and firework displays. So, you know, if you're there on New Year's Eve over Bayside, which is on the downtown side of the Miami, they have a fantastic open air party going on, and the fireworks at midnight. So really beautiful.
Obviously, people can fly into Miami and then they can start their cruise from there. But I guess you would recommend, and I would as well actually, because I had a great time when I was on holiday, to spend a few days before or after your cruise.
Yes, absolutely.
There's so much to do, isn't there?
You need to, because you really don't get a feel to go in and just maybe have a night before your cruise.
Yes.
I would recommend you, at least if you could add on 4 nights would be a minimum, and you get a good taster then of what you can do in the city.
What kind of things do you think people should definitely do when they're in Miami?
great things. Well, we've obviously got wonderful beaches.
Yes.
We've got about 17 miles of beaches, and they are all gorgeous.
Yes.
But we're multicultural. We have great neighbourhoods, so you can go and get a little different taster. So Little Havana, you can go in and get great Cuban coffee, enjoy the music of the area of Cuba, and just get a good sense of the place. Then over to Coconut Grove, which is a very sort of village-like feel. Very nice place just to go for an afternoon to just mosey around little boutique stores and chill out. So there's so many varieties there. It really does change from neighbourhood to neighbourhood.
Well, I remember when I was walking around, it was one section was bustling and busy, and you've got Muscle Beach, and you've got people having drinks and enjoying the cocktails and that kind of thing. And then you wander around, and the city changes, and the architecture is quite interesting as well. In Miami, it's incredibly impressive
and evolving very much at the moment, especially in the downtown area. But Miami is famed for its Art Deco. I think we have the largest collection of Art Deco buildings in the world, and South Beach is an absolute prime example. The properties have all been renovated, and many of them are hotels, and they're all gorgeous. They've got something a little bit different about them, and very, very enticing to go and wander around, because they're all very stylish and chic in their interiors and exteriors.
They are really chic, aren't they? They're incredible, and I think one thing you've got to do when you're there is you've got to basically have a wander around during the day and then come back at night time, because it really is bustling in the evening, isn't it?
Yes. And definitely South Beach is sort of 24/7. So sort of like two streets are really the party central, the place that can be really, really busy. But if you walk away a block or stay away another block or two, you can be in a peaceful environment. So you don't have to be wrapped up in the hurdy-gurdy if you didn't want to. Right.
So it's the city that can accommodate those who want a crazy nightlife, who want a bustling city, but also if you want to have a wander around, it's something for everyone to enjoy of any age, I would assume.
It is, yes. I mean, families would be very welcome into Miami. And again, going along the coastline, going north, staying in Sunny Isles or a Surfside, there are beautiful hotels right on the beach, and the beaches are all the same. They're all gorgeous.
They are. They're beautiful.
And you can come down into South Beach if you just want to have the experience during the day, and then go back into your neighbourhood, and you can just wander down to the local restaurant or entertainment and have a totally different experience.
When I was there, I was with a friend, and we went for a cocktail before a dinner, and we didn't know what to expect. And we were in a bar, and we were just hanging out, and we met these residents that lived there, and we went around to their house for dinner the next day. They were that lovely. Honestly, they said, come round and see us. And they were just this fantastic family, and they just, with open arms. I tell you, really, honestly, lovely people when we were there.
Well, that's the nice thing about Miami. Miami is used by the local people that live and work there. They live in the city itself, but they also use all the facilities. They love, they'll go to the hotels and have dinner or cocktails or local restaurants and that. So yes, it's not just for the tourists. It's very much their city.
They were obviously. I was very lucky enough to get picked up in a convertible, and then we drove around, and the wind was flying, and we were driving around the city, and it was a great way of seeing it. So I guess you can hire cars. Transport's quite easy. There's lots of cabs around there as well, isn't there? So transport-wise, it's quite simple, isn't it, to get around?
Yes, it is. From the airport, you can either go in by hire car or taxi or airport shuttles. There's also a light railway system that will take you into the downtown and onto the South Beach, and also the airport flyer, which is a bus service. So there's regular services to get you into the city. And from a taxi point of view, it's all zoned rates. So it's a flat fare from the airport to South Beach, so you're not going to be worried if you're...
That's good to know.
And yes, taxis are pretty cheap to get around the city itself. And I would recommend to anyone who's going and staying in South Beach, hotels are beautiful, but as you know, they're the Art Deco properties. They do not have a lot of land around them that's theirs, and therefore they have to pay for or charge you for valet parking. and it can be up to $45 a
Really?
night. That's a lot of money. It could be dinner.
I know. That's a lot of cocktails.
Yes.
You know, that's what I'm looking at.
But we would recommend not, if you're in South Beach, definitely don't need it. Maybe if you're up on Sunny Isles, then you wouldn't be getting that charge anyway.
Yes.
And you maybe want to have a car to tour around a bit. But
convertible.
As I say,
you need a convertible. You've got to do it, don't
yes.
you? You have to have a convertible. Well, you don't have to, but it's a lot of fun.
It is the thing to do.
With your sunglasses and the sun coming in, you're driving around. It feels pretty cool. And it's on the other side of the road as well. That's the key. So if someone else can drive, that's even better. If someone else can drive you. But it really is gorgeous. I mean, the beaches, I mean, that's a really big attraction, obviously, is the beaches. Yes. And when I was there, I literally would do what you did. And I just was saying, I just walked up and down all the beaches. They're just beautiful. You just get miles and miles and miles.
Yes,
it goes on and on and on. Just keep walking. The boardwalks all the way.
Yes.
And people on rollerblades going past you. I felt like I was in a film sometimes. It was fantastic. And so, you know, it really is fantastic, which is worth seeing for the beaches, but as we touched on, there's so much there as well, which is great. Listen, stay with us. We'll be discovering a bit more about what Miami has to offer in just a few minutes' time. Welcome back to Porthole, the programme where we delve into the heart of the most popular cruise ports. And today we're getting a taste for Miami. Eve Gardner is still with me. And Eve, we've touched on some great beach activities people can do, obviously sunbathing and swimming and walking down the boardwalk. But when it comes to America and Miami, they're very good with their food, aren't they? Food is fantastic.
Yes. It has, again, strong influences from the Caribbean and Cuba. So it gives... though you have traditional American fare, more spices in the food, so just gives it something different. But as a major city, it has every cuisine possible available to you.
Yeah, if you want something spicy, there's spicy. If you want something simple, there's steak.
Yes.
Yeah, there's everything.
And great seafood, of course.
Lots of seafood was fantastic.
Yes.
One thing I noticed there was a lot of was avocado. There's a lot of avocado going on. It was just... Everything came with avocado almost.
Everything around the area can be grown.
Yeah, it was delicious.
I mean, because the climate is there, so fruits and vegetables are easily to be grown.
In regards to beach holidays, I think, you know, some people like the beach, and that's all they do for the whole time. But what about other activities that people can do? For example, is the seaquarium? Can't even speak. Seaquarium. Yes. And tell me about that. That's something great for the families. Perhaps.
It is. It's great. It's right in very close to the port, actually, and a wonderful facility. And they have evolved over the years to put on some really special programs. So you can go and swim with dolphins or with otters and seals. So there's some wonderful things to do. Also, they have like a behind-the-scenes tour you can maybe sign up for, be a keeper for the day. And they also do a wonderful one where you walk along the seabed, which is called Sea Trek, and you put on one of those old-fashioned helmets, and you have a guide with you who tells you what's swimming by you and so forth.
So you know what's safe. It's all safe.
Oh yes,
it's
very
all
safe.
Controlled and safe. And you know, in regards to family activities, there's lots to do with the kids, isn't there, as well? If you go with families. Yes,
lots of outdoor things. Well, one of my favourites is to go over to the Everglades.
Oh, of course.
It's about 40 minutes drive. It's a national park. And under Miami's area, and it has its own microclimate over there, and again, you're out on an airboat, and the guides that are with you telling you what is in the environment you're in is just fascinating, and you can spend half a day easily out there.
Is it something you would recommend? A day, a half a day at least?
Usually tours are a couple of hours, so by the time you're there and back, it would write off half a day, and that's definitely worthwhile doing, yes.
Miami's also quite known for celebrities. Kardashians are there, and you know they're always doing something. So where are the celebrity hangouts that we can talk about, or know where they always go?
Well, a lot of them would have maybe second homes down there, but for visiting celebrities, no, they could be in any of the hotels, from any of the big resorts to some of the smaller little boutique places. But you'll see them just out in restaurants and walking around, and they just feel very comfortable. They don't...
Who have you seen? Any celebrities?
I'm one of those terrible people. I walk past and someone says, "Oh, did you see?" And I go, "Who? What?" Yeah. I've missed them. So
I'm like that sometimes. I could fall over Madonna in the street and be like, get out of the way. I don't know who you are. It's just sometimes it's not, you know, you got to try and keep an eye out for them. But if you're not looking, you don't know, do you?
No, but no, we're popular with British. We've had some of the footballers over there for partying and so forth. So yes, very popular.
If you wanted to venture out of Miami, whereabouts could you go? If you know, there's a lot to do in Miami, but if you wanted to, you know, hire a car and go a bit further out, is there other places you could check or go to?
Well, I mean, Miami's a good place to start if you're actually going to do a fly drive. So you can then go on to maybe down to the Keys.
Yes.
Which is a great place to visit. On the way, we have a place. Is called Homestead, and they have NASCAR racing, and you can also go and drive around the track and try out various Formula, I don't know, 1 to 3 vehicles, as well as luxury cars and things like that. So anyone who's into fast cars can have an exciting day or afternoon there.
We talked about, obviously, the beaches and lots of activities during the day, and we touched on the nightlife. There are a lot of bustling restaurants that people can enjoy, and there is also nightclubs as well, isn't there, obviously?
Oh, yes. Yes, there's some superb ones, and quite a few of them are based in hotels, and they have created some beautiful settings. And another good place to go, star watching or celebrity watching.
Yeah. And see what they're up to.
What they're up to.
What they're wearing.
Yeah.
What they're not wearing, all that kind of thing. What about tipping? Because obviously in America, you do need to tip, don't you?
Yes.
What's the latest with that? Is it still basically a percentage after every meal and with drinks and...
Yes, I'm afraid so. It is quite an expensive system they have over there. They would expect something between 15 to up to 20% on a meal, which is quite hefty from a British perspective.
I guess we're not used to it in regards to tipping, aren't we? We're just not used to giving the extra money. But in regards to prices, I don't necessarily think it was too expensive in Miami. I think some of the places you go to can be quite reasonable when it comes to food and drinks, etc.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And you can find something for all budgets. So you don't have to be... spending hundreds of dollars. You can go and find a very nice little restaurant and have a good meal for a very reasonable amount of money. Yes.
And there's something for everyone, whether you want a nice cocktail-fueled evening with a fantastic luxurious meal, or if you want something a bit more easygoing and cheaper. And
during August and September, we have what we call Miami Spice, which is our restaurant month, which is now extended to 2 months, where most of the restaurants in the city participate, where you have a set price for lunch and dinner.
Right.
So you can go into the top restaurants and have the experience at a very reasonable price.
Yeah. So you can see what's going on.
And just a little added value for anybody who's in town at that time, and very popular, again, with the locals that live there. They love those sort of good values to go and try out new restaurants and so forth, and great for visitors.
Entertainment and shows, because again, when I was there, I remember I went for a meal one night and didn't realise, but there was a performance and singing and that kind of thing, as it was part of the meal. I didn't even realise it was there, and that kind of thing happens. Do they do that a lot in Miami? Is there performances that can be enjoyed? Well,
there's lots of, there is theatre there. Yes. We get a lot of Broadway shows come down to Miami, or try out in Miami before going up to Broadway. We have great facilities there for all the arts. So Miami has its own ballet company, opera, symphony. So we have the high culture, great art museums and live theatre. So it's very important to the city. Yes.
When the boats arrive, what is the majority of the tourists? I know that there must be a lot from the UK, but is there a lot of Americans as well, and other countries that come to Miami? Yes,
cruising, the Americans definitely are the number one for cruising, and I would say the Brits are number 2, followed by other European nations. I think Germany is very much into cruising too.
With the cruisers that leave Miami, we touched on this earlier, but where do they mainly go? Whereabouts do they go when they leave Miami? Whereabouts are the cruisers mainly departing to?
Majority would definitely be in cruising the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Caribbean and Mexico, I would say, are the most popular destinations.
I think we obviously get a lot of people that would fly into Miami to leave and then do the cruise, but with what we just talked about, there's so many different things to do. People really could spend a few days before or after, couldn't they? Yes. I would, even if not a week, you could even put it into a mini holiday before or after your cruise. Well,
as most cruises tend to be a week long, so you arrive into Miami and come back 7 days later into Miami, then yes, why not have a 2-week vacation or holiday and
enjoy everything.
Enjoy it all, yes.
Exactly.
You get to see an awful lot, yes.
For those that do, if someone does or a family do come into Miami for their holiday, what's the one thing they need to do in Miami? If they've only got 1 day, because they might not have decided to stay longer, what's the one thing you think they need to do? Can you squeeze 1 or 2?
Oh, it's very difficult, yes.
You know, if they don't have much time, it's a bit over. There's a lot to do, isn't there? There's a lot to see. What do you reckon would be the one thing they have to see in Miami?
Okay, there is. I would suggest, because I'm sure they're going to head towards South Beach, and I would say take a walking tour of what starts in Lincoln Road. It's a foodie tour, but they also talk about the history and the architecture and how Miami evolved. And I think in 2 hours you can see and learn an awful lot, as well as getting fed as you go along.
Yeah, and a tan, hopefully.
Yes, and a tan, absolutely. So that kind of does all things. We do have the big bus or various bus tours that you can hop on and hop off.
Yes.
So in a day you could get to see quite a lot if you want to be that energetic.
For squeezing a lot.
So, yes,
you can tick off everything that you've seen within the space of a few hours.
Yes, but allowing that most people don't want to necessarily do too much, I would definitely say Lincoln Road is one to start with. Then maybe go and have a nice lunch somewhere.
Cocktail.
Afternoon, and well, I was going to say sunset on a roof terrace with a mojito.
Lovely.
Is Miami.
with the Kardashians somewhere around you there. When it comes to the ships docking, are they pretty much in the heart of Miami from when the ships dock to where obviously the city is or where you want to see?
Yes, you're right in what would be classified as the downtown area. So it's between downtown and going across the causeway over to South Beach. So literally a 5-minute taxi ride from downtown into the port. So you're very close.
And there's some, the locals are used to having the tourists there, aren't they?
Oh yes, yeah, they're there all the time. Yes.
And the locals love them.
They want them there too. Yes, if you see the number of hotels that are in Miami.
And they look after you well, don't they? I mean, I remember again, it's brilliant looked after, and they want to give you the best service that they can, and then obviously you can enjoy the whole experience, whether it is just a basic meal or a luxury drinks and dinner. It's every spectrum.
Yes, but it's very laid back.
Yeah,
they're very relaxed.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. It's been great chatting to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much too. And thanks to you for your company. I will see you again next time as we look through the Porthole. Bye for now.